Part 2. All right, so shouts out to Dane Bruggen. I'm not gonna gloat. Thank you very much.
No. You're gonna sit here. You ask me. You go like, hey, man, you got 5 minutes for me? Okay, take your victory lap. You are such a jerk at times. You're a jerk.
Emery Jones. I gotta take a breath. I gotta take a breath.
Gonna take a breath.
You making me laugh. You making me laugh. You making me laugh, right? So,
hi, I'm vochlombardi, draft expert.
So Emery Jones.
Hey, good for you, jerk.
I'm blessed, man. Right tackle from LSU, Emery Jones, Bryan Broaddus. Man, I got a chance to watch it, and these tackles are different, Bryan. They are
different. Yeah,
they all got different. A little. You know what's funny, Bryan? You know how we talked about how Cameron Williams from Texas is big, but he looks small.
Yeah.
Emery Jones is 315, but he looked 330. He looks bigger.
Yeah, and it's funny because of how long he is too.
Very long, and I think that's going to help him, Bryan. But I think where he kind of, I think teams are going to like him because of his traits, right? Because of his, size and length and all that. I think once he learns how to use his hands for real, and and not lunge and not miss as much, I think he's really gonna turn it up. But he's a very feisty dude. Like, he wants to, fight you, and he wants to wrestle you, and that turns into holding sometimes. Of course, that turns into him tackling and wrestling people. But I think he has some pretty solid movement. I do think when he's on with his hands, he strikes the hell out of people. I love how he strikes. They may not always land in the right place all the time, but he does put hands on folk when it matters there. South Carolina in particular, I think he kind of he kind of got better throughout that game, right? Because he was kind of getting beat by whoever number 5 and number 6 is. We're gonna be watching them soon, I guess. But they was kind of putting hands on him, but he kind of learned throughout the game. But I really like him as a run blocker, though, Bryan. He's a really tenacious run blocker, and I think he got some pretty good power to him. He just like a lot of these guys. Work on staying low, bending those knees a little bit, and working on where to place his hands. But Emery Jones, right tackle from LSU, I like him a little bit.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I have to be careful because, LSU, my love for the LSU players and stuff like that. I thought there were times where he, in games, was playing better than what Will Campbell was playing.
I do agree with that. I 100% agree.
And I love the kid's toughness. I love his length. The thing that kind of worries me a little bit, Voch, is he plays from a 2-point stance like the whole game.
Yeah.
And you're thinking like it's amazing the amount of, for a tall guy, the leverage and the power he plays with playing in a 2-point stance.
Bases narrow, hands on his knees,
exactly. It's really kind of one of those. It's kind of like you watch him play and you think, okay, he's about to get run by. And somehow, some way, he's able to keep his feet, and do what he needs to do. And I think this kid, and Dane mentioned it. If he does come out, and we'll see if that's the case, but he's got a lot of promise to him. I mean, a lot of promise. I was thinking this isn't a perfect player, and I thought he'll need some real work on, sometimes the hand and the feet and all that, but he is mean, he's tough, and he's played a lot of big games. He's really battle tested, for a tackle. And so I think that if he's in fact in this draft, then some people are going to like the way that he plays, just because of the things I talked about. You're absolutely right about the hands, the punch, the strike.
Yeah.
I mean, he can rock a defender with his hands the way he plays.
Sure. What round are you thinking? You thinking like late second, maybe?
Yeah, I think that he's going to be somewhere, because we've got these offensive tackles and we got to kind of sort them out to where they are. I was really happy to hear Dane talk about Josh Simmons. Here you and I are just looking at tape.
Yeah.
We don't get the benefit of talking to coaches and all that other stuff that maybe that Dane gets to do, and good for him for doing that. But I kind of think, that Josh Carnley from Oregon's a smaller guy.
Sure.
And I kind of feel like that I like Emery Jones a little bit better than him, just because of the size, 6'6", 315. I think it's a little bit bigger than what Josh Carnley. I think Josh Carnley's like, 10 to 12 pounds lighter than Jones. But I think I would take him, and I think he's like mid second to where you're looking, mid second to, probably not all the way to the bottom of the round, but I think people are going to like him a little bit better than, like I said, than maybe a guy that's at the bottom of the second. I think he's more of a mid second guy.
I think it's going to come down to how the team wants to use him, right? Because if I'm running the football and I'm doing a lot of wide zone stuff, then Connor might be my guy. But if I'm, doing combos, I'm down blocking, trying to move people around a little bit, then I can see how Jones can probably be favored by that type of team or whatever. Let me ask you this, Bryan. So you told me the other day that you watched Jonah from Arizona.
Yeah.
Savaiinaea.
I think it's Savaiinaea.
It's probably Savaiinaea.
It's two I's in there. So yeah, I it's funny because I asked today I was on the show with Nick Harris and I was asking Nick and he goes, I got to work on all these pronunciations. So he and
Nick
I were trying
ready.
I go, bro, you've got to get ready because Voch and I are already talking about you and telling people these. He goes, I'll be ready. Don't worry about me. I'm like, okay, well, we got to figure out the Arizona. So Jonah's from Zona. Jonah's from Zona. This guy, did you get a chance to see him?
Yes, sir.
What did you think about him? I mean, 6'5", 336 for the player from Arizona.
So this is where I start to struggle. I start to have a little sympathy for these guys that are going to be guards that are playing tackles.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like when they got to move around in space, I feel like they miss a lot. I feel like they don't really get a good purchase on the block, a good grip on the block like they really want. They do a lot of thinking because they're on an island as opposed to just coming off and mauling people.
Mm-hmm.
Jonah looked a little lost in open space to me sometimes.
Yeah.
And my rule, Bryan. If you 6'5", 330, I want you to come off and whoop and maul people like you 6'5", 330. I didn't see a bunch of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to figure it out, right? I was like, all right, is this just because he's at tackle and he's not allowed to maul people because he's on an island, or is he just not that just yet? He's a junior. This would be a fantastic time if he was a Bill Nagy guy, a Jim Nagy guy. And he goes to the Senior Bowl and we see him at guard. That'd be fantastic for him. But I couldn't look at him with a great deal of confidence and be like, okay, well, he's this big guard playing tackle. He's going to maul people. That's what you think he'll be. But I didn't see a whole bunch of that in him. Now, when he latched on to people, I saw some decent kind of run blocking, but that'll turn to holding sometimes because he'll lean a little bit. So I was a little let down by Jonah from Zona. And look, I was looking. I watched 4 games because I was searching for that. I couldn't get it. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, the reason why I kind of feel like that he's better suited to play inside is because I thought the wider you rushed him, the harder it was for him to make it happen. And I felt like that he needed to play where he didn't have to deal with so much space. And I think he's got some balance, though, for his pass set. His mass allows him to get some movement. I saw him walling off guys and dry blocking when necessary. I just didn't see great range. I just did not see that offensive tackle range that you want. And so that's where I felt like, him playing inside, but when his feet stop, he can get in trouble. I mean, he could get in some trouble. And this is where you're right. I think he extends, he lunges, but I think the size, the mass, I think they're better fits for inside play. And if he could do small area stuff, I think he has a better chance of having success. And I think playing guard will allow him to do that.
Yeah. My whole thing though, Bryan, and I'm totally with you, by the way. I at least want to see you be kind of good as a tackle. And then I go, all right.
Yeah.
Now put him at guard. I didn't even see really good tackle tape out of him. So I kind of wish Arizona would just put him at guard so I can know what he is. But I guess that's one that we have to just keep watching and just figure out over time.
Keep watching, keep trying to figure out. I'll be interested to see where I know media scouts will have him. I know Dane had him as a guard on his breakdown. And if Dane's probably talked to some NFL teams about that.
Sure.
Where do you see this guy? And we'll start to get, we're going to get to these bowl games and we're going to get, okay, people are looking at this guy they're going to him as a tackle, a guard, that kind of stuff. So I think in the next several weeks, we'll have a little bit better idea where they're thinking about playing these guys.
Yeah. We're going to pause it right there, Bryan. We're just going to wrap up right there. And I was going to ask you about Alec Ayo Minor because I didn't really feel like I got a good feel out of him, but I'm going to watch him again. I'm going to watch him.
I kind of like the kid. Yeah. I kind of like the kid, and you could watch him if you really want to go back and watch him play against Colorado last year. He does nothing in the first half of the game. Yeah. In the second half, he lights them up, and that's with a little bit of Travis Hunter involved covering him. Yeah. So you can get an idea about him working against who you and Dane think is one of the best corners in the draft.
Yeah, you're 100%, Bryan. You're absolutely right there. But what we're gonna do tomorrow, Bryan Broaddus, is Wednesday. So we're gonna talk about the Bengals offense.
Yeah.
But I also want to find a way to incorporate some Alec Ayo Minor after I watch him and some Mike Green from Marshall because I just found some.
Okay,
Marshall
please do
too.
because I've got both those players done. And I've got some other. I need to work on these running backs. Yeah. I really was encouraged by what Dane was saying, and I know you've looked at some of those guys. Yes, sir. So I need to catch up in that way too.
Okay, so we'll work on that. And all right, everybody, we're back to Cowboy talk. We're back to full-blown Cowboy talk tomorrow and Thursday there, and then come Friday we'll have some more draft stuff for us to fully dive into. We thank y'all so much for tapping in with us every single night. We see y'all in the comments. We engage with you in the comments. Keep put them in the comments, and if y'all have somebody y'all want us to talk to, hey, put that in the comments, and Bryan will see if he'll look in his phone and he'll see if they're in and if not, I'll look at my phone because it may be a content creator y'all may want us to talk to, and we'll go from there. All right, Voch Lombardi, Bryan Broaddus, go ahead.
Hey, I heard you did a great job on 105.3 The Fan as an employee of 105.3 The Fan in Odyssey. Thank you very much for your service tonight. I know those guys. They asked some good questions. I know you gave some great answers. Probably some really long-winded answers, but other than that, I think you did a great job.
I talk a bunch, so you're 100% right,
bro.
Sir.
You and I are perfect for a podcast, right?
I like the up and come. Yeah, me and you just talking over each other.
Just don't even care.
Hey, I'm sure 105.3 The Fan will post that highlight because they know they get views over here in the YouTube space when they put Voch Lombardi in the title. Right?
Absolutely.
And, follow me, follow Bryan Broaddus. We love y'all 2 pieces, all right? Crown.